Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video. Uh, Thoughts on Sutherland Springs and good people. Uh, what a weekend it's been. Um, Everything going on in the news about what happened in that very small town in Texas. Um, a lot of information that's being spread around, but there was a lot of good things happened, even in the midst of such a horrible tragedy. First, I want to say. Um, I had this. I don't know if you guys knew this, but this is my AR-15. Um, I've done very few videos with this rifle, or rather carbine, I should say. But yeah, I've had this. I had this thing. This is my first one, and I had this for quite a number of years. I don't know if you guys remember an old video I did a while back, um, where I took a 5-round magazine and made it a 20-round magazine. It's one of the Pro Mag 5-rounders, and I gave my own little personal touches to it. Now it's about between an 18 to 20 round magazine. So you can show that I still have that. Um, where to start? First off, I really don't remember the guy's name, the murderer, the mass murderer, and I don't need to know his name. I don't need to remember his name. I don't need The reason why I don't need to remember his name is because I recognize, or at least I've known for a long time, that there are just evil individuals in this world. I guess if you want any sign of there being a devil, there you go. You have people like that who who are around us, and it's always important to recognize that because it keeps you from being I should say, in condition white all the time. You should always be mindful of people that you're around. You should always look out for many people's intentions. Study what people do. Even me, I hope. I'm glad that a lot of people who watch my channel, they ask me certain questions. By why I do certain things, why I wear certain hats, why I say certain things, why I like a particular firearm, why do I use certain methods, and with fixing things, stuff like that. I enjoy I enjoy and welcome many questions, and I hope they continue to come. And this instance, I didn't. It wasn't when I first heard about it. It was the same thing that I always go through my mind. I'm gonna wait till more info gets out. Okay, because basically it's like, okay, this happened again, as it's happened plenty of times, but but I always thought of it being, always thought of it as like, okay, there were people shot. Chances are it happened in a gun-free zone. Chances are it was one person. Chances are he used either a handgun or a modern sporting rifle like this one right here. And I just, I think like that because I don't want to be overtaken by emotion. I want to at least wait till I get more information about what's going on, well, what happened, and before I can talk to myself, talk to other people about what happened, what they've heard, and then I do a video on the topic. And I gotta say, I think it was Sunday night. I was reading on Reddit some people's responses, and when I got wind of the full story, I gotta say it was an outcome that I didn't expect, but it was an outcome that I've been wanting to hear for a long time. Two names stood out in that story that I think we should never forget. We should spread their names should, at least if not, if not just in the gun community, but in Americana overall. Two individuals, and they don't see themselves as heroes, but I think they set an example for things that we should look out for in other people and also within ourselves. Johnny Langen, let's see if I'm going to say, I hope I say it right. Johnny Langendorf, the driver of the pickup truck that was at the intersection, and Stephen Willeford, the man who engaged the mass murderer at the scene. I'm going to include a link to his interview with Steven Crowder. It's a great interview. It's about just like I think it's just under 40 minutes long, but it's uncut. It's very emotional. It's important to watch. Um, and I think it shows this. It shows the spirit of it shows a Christian spirit, for one thing, and it shows the American spirit, um, which the similarities between the two is the willingness to put others before yourself and go as far as needed to help others. And Stephen Willeford, he talked about how his daughter, they heard a noise, sounded like someone was tapping on the window. I'm just gonna go just say a few short things from the interview that I remember. And they said it sounded like someone was tapping on the window, but it turns out it was actually gunfire. And he lived um, not very close to the church, and he talked about how um, his daughter had drove around and seen what was going on and relayed back to her father what was happening. And he said he got up, went to his safe, got his AR-15. His had an EOT. You mentioned in the interview, he had an EOTech sight, and grabbed the magazine and a handful of ammo. He was barefoot. But actually, when he was talking about it, it reminded me of Die Hard, because he was barefoot like John McClane was, and he just sprang into action. He said he was guided by the Holy Spirit because he when he came face to face with the murderer, he noticed that he was wearing body armor, and he quickly recognized where he needed to shoot first. And when I read that he shot him in between his armor, I gotta say I was impressed. That was amazing. That was an amazing thing for me to read, and didn't hear him talk about it. He said there was a spot where he wasn't armored, and he shot him there. Later reports noted that he was shot in the leg and in the torso, because there was a gunfight between the mass murderer and Willeford. Willeford wasn't injured, but he was quite shaken up, and you can see his emotional state in the video, in the interview he did with Steven Crowder, and he fired back at the mass murderer as he took off in his SUV. Now, one thing I want to talk about was, there was this nonsense that I've been hearing. I read it on stuff people saying on Reddit, or it was stuff that was said about the intentions behind the mass murder. They're saying he was done. Some people say he made was Willeford a fool for playing the hero. After hearing someone shoot up a church, I don't know what would you expect someone else to do. What would you? I mean, if they were equipped and had the right mind and had they had the skill set. By the way, this guy was not ex-military. He used to be an NRA certified instructor, but he talked about how his passion was riding motorcycles, and helping out with different charities. So, but this guy he felt compelled to go and respond to this, and with an outcome like this, I don't understand how you can say anything bad about what he did. He did something that was, yeah, it was a crazy situation, but I guess he had to act in, I don't know, maybe somewhat of a crazy manner to respond to it appropriately, but he came out on top, and that's the best thing I think anyone could wish for. So, he wasn't trying to play hero. He was doing what he's doing what needed to be done, and I commend him greatly for that. And he hit the guy, and the guy took off. He continued firing at at this SUV that he took off in, and Johnny Langendorf. It was cool seeing his interview. People said they said his name. If you observe his tattoo on his neck, his name, the toothpick, you couldn't get more Texas than that. He saw about he was at the intersection. He saw the exchange go on, and Willeford ran up to Langendorf's truck and told him what was on. This guy shot the truck. He shot the church. He just took off. The guy said, "No, let's go." So he hopped in the truck, and the two of them took off on a chase that ended 12 miles, just about 12 miles away from the on the scene of the crime. And they contacted they talk about how they contacted the AYP I say NYP LA, contacted the police and told them what was going on, and they were able to catch up to the guy. There was also a report of the mass murderer calling his dad and saying, telling his dad that he's been shot. You don't think he's gonna make it. The guys, his SUV wiped out, and their trucks, Langendorf's truck stopped like a few feet away from the SUV, and Willeford, got out with his rifle, and he said I think he only had maybe a few rounds. He just grabbed a handful of rounds and loaded the magazine. I say learn from, watch the video from Irish earlier and talk about how the importance of having your magazines loaded. But either way, it was still very impressive that he just grabbed a handful of ammo and was able to load the magazine on the way to engage in this prick. And so he only had a few rounds left in his AR-15, and he had trained on the guy. He said he didn't see any movement. Langendorf said that the police arrived about 5 minutes later because he had to catch up with because they said they were driving somewhere around up to about speeds of 95 miles an hour. So this was a pretty intense pretty intense situation. It turns out the guy as we know right now, he killed himself. And I was gonna say that's that, but it's not. It's never. I don't think it's ever over with, because now those two men, especially Willeford and the families of those who were greatly affected by the mass murderer's actions, their life's gonna be different. Life's gonna be extremely different for them from this point on. My prayers go out to them. And another thing, there's this whenever these kind of things happen, these tragic events, these mass shootings, I fully understand and I support people saying that their hearts and prayers go out to the victims of those kind of situations. What bothers me is when you have people who don't agree with that and they make it vocal and they actually use it as a way of ridiculing the people who say that, as if they offer up any type of condolence or any type of sympathy for those who are affected by those evil actions. In my mind, they're evil people themselves because they don't understand the level of heartache and level of pain that someone could be going through. And then there's also the thought, the thought and wishes of people who weren't there, who wish they could have actually done something about it, who wish they could have actually done something to help those people, but they were powerless because whether they weren't equipped or they just weren't there at the time. They couldn't be there to step in and help these people, but what they can do is offer their love, support, and prayers, and that's a lot. These saying, I read a few, I read some things where people are saying, the Bible says, acts, prayer without acts is dead. Well, it's ironic that they talk about that, because as if they would have done anything themselves. All they want to do is talk. All they want to do is belittle people who express their condolences in a public forum, and to me that's also disgusting. So I just wanted to do this video. It was like I said, it was a very sad thing to it. It was a very sad thing to have read, but I gotta say I was very, very happy to see that there were people who at that point in time recognized what was going on and stood up and did something. Like I said, those two men, Stephen Willeford and Johnny Langendorf, their actions should not be forgotten. As a result of such a heinous act, they stepped up and sprang into action when the time called for it. And I only hope that I could ever do half of what they did. I hope the same for other people. That should we ever find ourselves in that kind of situation, or witnessing something like that, that we can spring into action. And I think what they did could be used as encouragement as a means, as something that we can study and um, you know, hope to be able to help others, and in a way should the occasion call for it. But like I said, that's my video. I just wanted to express my thoughts, and like I said, my hearts and prayers go out to those who are who were hurt by such a tragedy, by such a tragic event. Um, my thanks go out to those two men for what they did, and I encourage you to check out that interview. I'm going to include the description. I'm going to include the link in the description box to this video. From Stephen Crowder's channel. It was a great interview. You guys, I think if you haven't seen it, it's worth stopping what you're doing and watching it. It's a very important video to watch. That's my video. If you got any comments, questions, please leave in the comment section. Please share your thoughts on what happened. Any gripes, complaints, send me a PM. I'll see what I can do to address them. Well, that's my video. Thoughts on Sutherland Springs and good actions, good people, and the things that we can learn from them. I'm Edward Jones, and you guys take care.